Hello there fellow NPCs, I am Carbon Scythe and today we're getting back into Everlasting Summer. And in the last episode we did finish the Semyon run, both good and bad ending. And that good ending was so much to read. But I don't think there's... Yeah, it's gonna be quite a lot to read in the other endings as well, I believe. But yeah, we are done with that, which means we only have the girls' paths left before the game is concluded. Yeah, I say it's only, but it's basically the entire game left. And yeah, so now we are jumping into the hike that we were taking with all the other pioneers up into the forest, and we are going to go on the good Alisa run. You know, that's where we are right now. So, let's go. So, we are, as I said, in the camping here on the hike. So we need to go and find out what Alisa and Lena are arguing about. Let's go with that. Only Lena and Alisa stood out among all this splendor. Well, of course it was quite natural for Alisa to be arguing with someone like that. But hearing Lena talk in a raised voice, I came closer silently. Slyantly? Okay. Trying to understand what was going on. No, you listen to me. Think whatever you want, I've said everything. You look serious. I tried as hard as I could not to attract any attention and look like I'm just standing there with no intention of listening in on them. There's nothing to think about, everything is as clear as day. Don't try and wind me around your little finger like that, I know you too well. Why, of course you know everything, then why won't you tell him yourself? Yeah, so Lena is... I always played her as very soft-spoken. But she is agitated. She's upset now. Getting angry, yeah. Lena was getting angry. That alone was really weird. Even considering that I didn't know what they were arguing about. That's none of your business. Alisa snorted, turned around and her eyes met mine. Seconds later, Lena gave me a look as well. The girl stood there in confusion for some time. You're eavesdropping? Me? No. I was just like passing by. I put on the best smile I had, but it didn't seem to help much. By the way, today he was peeping at me. Alisa gave him a malicious smile. Oh, so that happened today too, huh? Lena looked at me questioningly. First of all, why would she believe this devious Fox's stories? I didn't peep. You know quite well that it was an accident. Uliana should be the one to blame. Sure it was. Tell that to the cops. It seems like my excuse was not working. Did you like my boobs? A shiver ran up my spine. Is that true? Lena looked at me imploringly. Well, you see, it was an accident. I didn't see anything there. You didn't? Well, I can show you again! Alisa cried in anger. I didn't know what to say. You see? I told you. No! Lena started to mumble and rushed away a moment later. Wait, what happened? I shouted after her. You see what you did? The girl is upset now. She gave a spiteful smile. First of all, it wasn't me who upset her. Second, I don't have any idea what the two of you were arguing about. I was running out of patience. Why should I tell you? It seemed like she thought that our talk was over and was about to leave. I grabbed her hand abruptly. Alisa glanced at me in fear, but didn't say anything. Okay, so I remember something completely different from this scene. But I guess that only happens when you are aiming for the Lena route, you know? This time Alisa won. Alisa glanced at me in fear, but didn't say anything. I was angry at that moment. Really angry. First, I was wildly enraged that Lena was upset because of me, even though I was actually kind of guilty. Second, I was enraged by Alisa's insolence. Third, I was so tired that I was about to lose my temper at the smallest thing. Happy now? I hissed, pointing into the darkness where Lena had run off. You only seem to have the guts to bomb memorials and hurt innocent girls. She looked frightened, saddened, and confused at the same time. She herself could hurt anyone. You just don't know her. The only truth here is that I don't know her too well, but I'm absolutely positive that she wouldn't hurt anyone. That's your job. Really? How are we supposed to get a good ending from this? Am I actually entering the bad ending? Oh. Was I not as flirtatious with her as I thought I was? We'll see. We stood in silence for some time. I held Alisa's hand and didn't know what to do next. The solution dawned upon me all by itself. You have to go and apologize. Why the hell should I? Alisa tried to act as arrogant as always, but it wasn't going to work this time. 'Cause I said so. I refused to hear any objections and dragged her to the side of the bonfire. Olga Dmitrievna, I'm sorry, we have some urgent business to deal with, so we have to leave early. The guidance officer tried to object, but I didn't listen and headed after Lena, pulling Alisa along with me. After some time, I released her hand. Any objections? All the pride and arrogance had left Alisa's face long ago. If you want me to come with you, I will, but I have nothing to apologize for. I told her the truth. We'll see about that. Then. I cut her short. We had been walking in silence until we entered the camp. We came to the square and I asked Alisa, where do we go next? How should I know? And who said that they know Lena well? Was it me? Alisa hesitated. Well, she could be at the island. She often goes there when she wants to be alone. Excellent. We headed to the pier. Night came down on the camp while I searched for paddles and pottered around with the ropes. One boat was actually missing. Okay, today is your lucky day. You get to do several killer exercises that will build up your biceps, triceps, and other arm muscles. I said sarcastically. Okay, sarcastically, not angrily. He's calming down. He's getting cooler. Are you serious? Alisa cast a fearful glance at me. Well, perhaps that was a little too rough. Even for her. Alright. I won't make a row, of course. That hardly sounded confident. Swinging in the paddles appeared to be much harder this time. Well, that's not surprising, considering that today I must have already filled my annual rowing quota. I stopped in the middle of the river to catch my breath. The camp was covered by night. A trivial and ordinary night. It was one of those nights when the dark sky, stars and crescent moon don't make you feel anything special, and chirping crickets and twittering birds sound like they are all doing a dull routine job, rather than performing an otherwise exciting nocturne. I was staring into the darkness, trying to make out the shadowy island. How did you get to know her? Alisa shivered a little. We grew up together, she answered slowly after some hesitation, and ended up at the same pioneer camp. What a fabulous coincidence. All these questions, mysteries and fears that had all been so well hidden so far suddenly spawned in my head. Damn, I could just throw her out of the boat and drown her right here and now. God damn, what the hell is he thinking? Is he only thinking this? No. He doesn't know that, and you don't know that necessarily. I know that. Well, yeah. Why the hell would he ration out like that? I can demand answers. No, he hasn't met the other pioneers, the other Semyons yet. Although it could be dangerous unless I'm sure that I know what I'm doing. So he haven't met them, so he doesn't know that they're not real, you know. But still, I thought that this time I was playing with their white pieces so I could make the first move. and not just parry the blows of the opponent. So, what kind of camp is this? Alisa stared at me blankly. Where are we? Why am I here? She kept silent. Answer me! I shouted. Hey, what's wrong with you? If you want me to apologize to Lena, I will. That's when I realized how stupid I was acting, to say the least. She could simply be uninvolved in all that stuff. And what's more, one can't lie that convincingly. Oh, one can, but maybe not to someone in her age. Alisa's fearful expression was yet another reason to believe her. Sorry. That was all I was able to say at the moment. Yet I wanted to keep my advantage. The last few meters were really tough. Exhausted, I got out of the boat and lay on the cold ground. Alisa stood nearby staring at me. I thought she was about to goad me or utter some barbed witticism, but since she remained silent I assumed she was still shocked or something. Even though it was rather dark here, it would be easier to hide in my old flat than on this tiny island. Furthermore, Lena must have already heard us as we were crossing the river, so by now it's already too late to ask Alisa any more questions, even though I still had some. Listen. I looked over at her but saw nothing. It was dark in the night and I didn't have a cat's eyes. Well, when you find Lena, you're going to tell her you never wanted to hurt her feelings and everything that happened in the morning was nothing but a misunderstanding, okay? My voice didn't sound as confident as it did a couple of minutes ago, but confident enough. Although Alisa said nothing, it was clear by her look on her face that she agreed. I stood up and we went off to find Lena. Her boat was tied to a snag on the far side of the island. That's very clever of her. One wouldn't see the boat from afar, I mumbled. Well, that means she's somewhere in the trees. Let's find her. I headed into the grove, but Alisa stood still. What's up? I thought we discussed everything already. Yeah. It's not that. It's just that it's dark in here. I had to strain my eyes to make out her face. The grove is smaller than my grandmother's daisy garden. What is there to be afraid of? Alisa didn't answer. If you want to know what I'm thinking, I would gladly just leave you here. I never know what the trick you're up to. Well, she came very close to me. Let's go like this. She took my hand. Okay. So she's that scared, huh? In the middle of the night? I hadn't expected this outcome. My cheeks turned red and hot. My breath was taken away and I could barely say anything. The whole situation didn't favor conversation, which was probably for the best, since I doubt I would be able to say anything smart. Slowly, we headed into the grove. In a couple of moments, I regained some control of myself. Come on, there's really nothing to be afraid of. We came here during the day, gathering some strawberries. No big deal. Just a normal birch grove. It's really nice here during the day, I added after a short pause. Alisa didn't look at me. She was staring somewhere into the distance. Well, it's up to you after all. A few moments later, she pointed somewhere in front of us. There she is. I peered into darkness, but could barely see anything. So she is over here crying, huh? When we came closer, we saw Lena sitting beside a tree. She was crying. Why have you come here? She asked tearfully. And you? She looked at Alisa but didn't finish the sentence. That moment, Alisa released my hand. Well, you see, I just wanted to apologize for being somewhat harsh and rude. Alisa interrupted me. Her voice had regained the usual arrogance of hers. Maybe it's because she didn't want to look weak in front of Lena. What a perfect apology. Not walking the walk, are you? How clever of you to insist that I'm doing a bad thing and then don't do the same thing yourself. Lena switched to shouting uncontrollably. Oh. You got it all wrong. I get what I've seen. Yeah, you see, girls, you're arguing again and I seem to be somehow involved in all that, but I don't understand a thing. Explain it to him, Lena said to Alisa with a grin. There's nothing to explain. Well, maybe you will let me have a try then. Whatever. She crossed her arms and over her chest and turned away. Well then, Semyon. She blamed me for pursuing you. For a minute there was a complete silence. Lena didn't look like explaining any further, and as for me, I stood still trying to assemble the scattered pieces of the puzzle into a whole. What do you mean? Exactly what I said. It's not like that. That's not what I meant. Interrupted Alisa. Of course. You've always been like this. Lena burst into tears again. Wait, how come... So, Lena likes me? And you? What about you? You're trying to convince me that it's all wrong while you're holding his hand. What, so Alisa likes me too? Oh, come on, Alisa actually liking someone? This can't be happening. It's just, it was dark in here and... That's so much like you. Always so arrogant, always trying to control others, but when it comes to yourself... Alisa didn't answer. I really felt like I had to say something to defuse the situation. Hey, wait. Perhaps we just got it all wrong. This has nothing to do with you. Alisa's voice was all the distance. Judging by the conversation, this has everything to do with me. Yes, it does. Ask her what she thinks of you and why she told me not to go after you. I don't think Lena was actually going after me. I'm telling you once again, we heard enough of your story already. Lena shut up and ran away into the darkness. I stood nailed to the spot, not sure what to do next. If I followed Lena now, what would I say when I found her? After all, I don't even understand what this is all about. My cluelessness and silly attempts to console her would only upset her more. Guess we'd better let her be alone for some time. That didn't sound very confident. Whatever. Without another word, Alisa headed back to the boat. Yeah, it's gonna be awkward on the way back, huh? The whole way across the river to the pier was hell of a trip. I had to stop every 10 or 20 meters to take a break. Alisa was staring at the river and didn't pay any attention to me. Well, this seems to be the first situation here in the camp that is completely beyond my comprehension. Even though ultimately it is just a trivial everyday situation. I wasn't this confused even during the all-night expedition to the old camp. After all, if you have a closer look, there isn't anything strange here at all. Lena is a very shy and perhaps even introverted person, yet she is human and can't completely avoid normal human developments. Considering that, her reaction fits the situation quite well. Even if I don't get the source of the quarrel, it's clear as day that the girls would not behave like that if they didn't have a good reason. And as things were standing, I was the reason. And that's the strangest part of the whole situation. Hey, I'm sorry it went that way. If only I hadn't overheard your conversation. Seems like I was feeling a pathological need to excuse myself. It's not your fault at all, she said absent-mindedly. It's just that you appeared in the right place at the right time and restarted a mechanism that had stood still for a long time. I don't quite get it. Of course you don't. And actually, you shouldn't right now. You'll get it later. She cast an intense glance at me. Damn it. Why does this always happen to me? Both at school and college, trouble seems to have chosen me as a primary target. Someone blocked the classroom door with a mop. I got a written reprimand in my mark book. There was a fight. All things considered, I must have started it. Failed an exam. Well, of course that's my fault, and the teacher who hates me has nothing to do with it. Even my parents always seem to prefer blaming me rather than unfavorable circumstances, third-party involvement, or the decrees of providence. At some point, I even started to believe that I somehow do attract trouble. Remember Murphy's Law? In my case, it was like if something nasty is gonna happen, it's gonna happen to me. For that reason, I always tried to stay out of any trouble where I could become the whipping boy. Well, judging by today, I'm not really good at it. It seems like you got an aura of some sort. You do attract attention. Surprised, I looked at Alisa. She was smiling. Looks like she can read my mind. Trouble, mostly. Who knows? Who knows? She said dreamily and stared at the river. It's a wonderful night, isn't it? Just like any other, if you ask me. Dude! What the hell? Dude, that actually pisses me off. He just pretty much got a confession from 2 girls this evening. And they are even sharing a boat on the back home. Even if he's uninterested. You're not gonna say... Well, actually, if you are uninterested and you want to defuse a situation, you might say, just like any other night, if you ask me. But any other reason, if there is a slight chance that you have any interest in her, you will say, yeah, it's pretty beautiful. At the very least, you know? Screw this guy. Also, he has an insane victim complex. I felt used up. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Just an ordinary night. Nothing special. The best moments to make our most admirable camp leader really happy. She has to know that her favorite pioneer is a nasty pervert who enjoys peeking at naked girls. I'm her favorite pioneer? What are you talking about? Something snapped inside of me again. You aren't serious, are you? Why, of course I'm serious. She didn't look like she was joking at all. Well, suit yourself, but do you really think this is the best time to do that? Aren't you supposed to row? I realized that our boat was still drifting in the river. Wait, don't touch my question. Let's get back to camp. I'll have a moment to think it over. Getting to spend an entire night in a boat wasn't something I would aspire to, so I had to apply myself to the paddles. We barely made it to the pier. I was exhausted, both because of the rowing and because of Alisa's intent to tell Olga Dmitrievna about this morning's incident. If I know our camp leader, her reaction will be quite predictable. So, you're actually going to visit Olga Dmitrievna now, are you? Why not? She gave me the most roguish smile. It's night after all. She must be sleeping already. Who knows? She might well be awake. Come on, you know full well it was a coincidence. A simple misunderstanding triggered by Juliana. No, I don't. She flung her arms up and headed to the camp. I gathered all my remaining strength, jumped up and followed her. At first I considered grabbing her arm, but then I realized that it might not be such a good idea after everything that had happened today. Hold on! I trudged unenergetically along next to her. Let's talk this over! Is there anything to discuss? We silently walked alongside each other for some time. At least she walked slowly so that I had no trouble keeping pace with her, and I was thankful for it. Hey, is there anything I can do to convince you to not tell Olga Dmitrievna? I'm not sure, but well, there is one thing. We came to the square. So what is it? Well, stop chasing Lena, for instance. For God's sake, what makes her think I'm chasing Lena? I started to lose my temper. Why are you making up such nonsense? You started the quarrel in the forest because of you we had to go to the island, and here we go again. Enough is enough. I'm not chasing her. Oh, she's angry now. Alisa stood still, bright moonshine lighting up her face, which showed evident signs of resentment and displeasure. Like I don't see how you look at her. How do I look at her? Like that. Like what? You know. She shifted her gaze but remained standing still. Hey, stop seeing everyone through your twisted imagination. If you can't stop making up nonsense stories, then at least keep them to yourself. Don't make others suffer because of you and your stories. I don't care if you pick on me, but now you got Lena involved. I really lost my temper for good, but Alisa didn't answer. It sank into an unexpected silence that was only broken by Alisa's sparse sobs. From bad to worse, now you are crying. Have you all gone mad here? I clasped my hand in despair. I could understand why Lena was crying, but seeing Alisa crying is unthinkable to say the least. I can't even see her reasoning. At any other time I would definitely be shocked, but at this moment I'm just too tired for that. My mind was absolutely blank. To be precise, it was so heavy and full, so that not even a single idea would have the chance to dwell there. If I would compare my brain at its prime to a broad highway full of speeding thoughts, overtaking each other and causing giant chaotic crashes, then now it's nothing but a forgotten tiny path in a distant desolate forest, which is only used in times of absolute necessity. Alisa kept silent. At least she stopped crying. If you really think it's so serious, go ahead and tell everything to Olga Dmitrievna. I hope it makes you feel better. Okay, I won't do it, she said quietly and turned to me. The tears were all gone, but her face seemed to express absolute sorrow at the world. I'm just feeling hurt. What hurt you? I asked her tiredly. It's always like that. She gets all the attention and always pushes me aside. I had difficulty understanding what she was talking about and decided to play along. Hopefully she'd finally leave me alone. That's not true. You do draw attention and people don't overlook you. I don't. I raised my eyes and looked at her. Her facial expression was a mixture of amazement and expectation. See? Oh, what's happened to her face? Could you? All of a sudden her voice became so tender that I flinched in astonishment. Alisa's face turned red and she hid her eyes. So, you really think that I'm as good as her? I wanted to say something like, even better, but stopped myself. Okay, so yeah, she was always the tsundere archetype, but he was also a tsundere? Is that what's going on here? They are both very explosive in this relationship, and that is not good. But then again, they are, yeah, maybe. I don't know if it works. It's not a good start of a relationship, at least. Yes, I do. It seems she didn't understand that I said it all absolutely insincerely. There we go. Insincerely. Alright, time to sleep. Alisa suddenly yelled cheerfully. Now she was acting more like herself again. See you tomorrow. She waved her hand and ran away. I sighed in relief. Well, it was over for today. All my remaining energy was wasted on a sprint to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. There was no light, so in trying not to awake the camp leader, I undressed quietly and lay down. It's still interesting. What did Alisa mean? And Lena? It becomes totally unclear what is going on with them and with me, as if we got sucked into some sort of vortex, which started to swirl with furious power. But what's going to happen next? And where will I be thrown then? Day 6, I believe. Yeah, this was day 5. Day 6. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Alisa line path We'll see if we can get it up to the good or bad. Ooh. Yeah, well, it's always possible to get it to the bad ending. That's easy. Let's see if we can get it to the good ending, though. I woke up early when Olga Dmitrievna was still asleep. I stretched and sat up in the bed. I felt surprisingly okay, although I should have slept through the day after what happened the night before. Quietly, so as not to wake the camp leader, I took the bag with my washing up stuff and went outside. Let's see. No, we haven't. This is completely new. Okay. I forgot to look at the clock, but it seemed like 6 or 7 in the morning. The camp was asleep. The grass was shaking off the night dew. A light fog hung above the ground, and the sun was just beginning to break through the treetops. Not warm at all yet, like the fluorescent lamp in the house across from mine. I took a deep breath of the tasty cold air, and thought that even a night owl like me can enjoy waking up this early sometimes. The streets of the camp were empty, of course. The water here has always been cold, but today it seemed like they got it from the Antarctic depths. Even my hands went numb from it. Oh, dude, that is awful. I've said it in a few other series, I believe, but I have bad circulation down to my feet, so when I'm out during winter, it's easy for me to lose sensation in my feet. Yeah, that sucks, is what I'm getting at. Finishing with my hygiene, I decided to walk around the camp a bit. Olga Dmitrievna is asleep. Breakfast is not for a while yet, so there's nothing to do. I came to the square and looked at Genda. That guy doesn't care if it's day or night. He's alert. I smiled at my successful joke and headed to the boat shed. As I walked, I hummed some song. Absolutely sure I was the only one awake here. To my great surprise, I saw someone sitting at the pier, hanging her feet in the water. Alisa. I came closer and stopped, not sure what to say. Then she suddenly turned around and stared at me. Been standing here long? No. Why aren't you asleep? Why aren't you? She turned back and stared at the river again. Looks like I'm not the only one in a good mood today. At least she wasn't being sassy again. Can't sleep. I see. About yesterday. You get everything, right? What exactly? Yeah. I knew she was gonna be upset with that. Oh, for God's sake. My answer didn't seem to go down well. Alright, I did. I lied. Alright. Good. She suddenly looked straight in the eye and smiled. In that case, I have plans for you tonight. Huh? May I ask what they are? You don't need to know. Well, since I'm a part of them, you'll know when it's time. Can you give me a hint at least? Nope. She got up and walked towards me. A bit scared, I cleared the way. Don't do anything stupid, Alisa said, moving away from the boat's shed. I wonder what you meant. And what are those plans? I had no wish to become a part of some terrorist act against a monument or anything. Besides, I was still haunted by yesterday's talk with Lena on the island. She is probably still angry. Dude, this guy's dense. And I've never managed to explain everything to her. Although I don't even know what I should say if I had the chance. I felt guilty about everything that had happened, but I couldn't figure out what exactly I was guilty of. The camp was starting to wake up. Breakfast was at least an hour away, but I had no desire to go back to the camp leader's cabin, so I decided to wait by the canteen. At least I'd be the first one there for once. I sat on a bench and watched the sun rising. Sometimes it's great to just watch a new day come. I was overwhelmed with complete peace and tranquility. There was no thoughts to tear up my brain as they usually do. I simply bathed in warm rays of the heaven's star. In any other place and circumstances, I could probably even say I was happy. Good morning. You're early today. I looked up and saw Lena standing in front of me. But what Lena wants to talk about, wants to say, we're going to find out in the next episode, aren't we? Because this is the end for today. We have started the proper Alisa path. And yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to make a quick bad run as well. Because I've been thinking about that. If I go too far into the good run, I will get to a point where I can't do a bad run, you know, as well. So I will try and figure out how to do that properly. But yeah, that will be it for today's episode. So thank you guys for watching. And if you want to help me out, you can do so by clicking the link down in the description. And I will be seeing you guys in the next one. Goodbye everyone.